This is a very short review on how to conjugate basic verbs in Spanish. Remember that all Spanish verbs end in either AR, ER, or IR. AR verbs, you take off the AR. For example, one would be hablar. So you take off the AR and then you add your appropriate ending. Our subject pronouns are yo, tú, usted, él, ella, nosotros. Don't forget that you can't say nos, but you have to say nosotros, but you can write it out in nos. So nosotros, and then ustedes, ellos, and ellas. So back to conjugating the verb. If you're conjugating an AR verb, you take off the AR, and then you add your appropriate ending for the AR verb for whatever subject you're talking about. So for yo, it would be o. Tú would be as. Usted, él, ella would all be a. Nosotros would be amos. Ustedes would be an. So if I want to say I speak or I talk, it would be yo hablo. You talk would be hablas. Usted, él, ella would be habla. Hablamos, hablan. They speak, hablan. You speak, hablas. You with respect speak, habla. I speak, hablo. We speak, hablamos. For ER verbs, take off the ER, and then your endings are o, es, e, hemos, en. So essentially, you take the A and you replace it with an E, because it's an ER versus AR. That's easy. And with IR, to take off the IR, and it's almost identical to ER endings, O, S, A. The difference, however, is with nosotros, it's hemos instead of hemos, and then N. If you have two verbs, you conjugate the first one, and you leave the second one in the infinitive, which is a fancy way of saying the unconjugated verb form. So if you wanted to say, I desire to talk, you'd say, deseo, that's verb 1, we'll conjugate that. Talk is the second verb, we leave it in the infinitive, which is unconjugated, deseo hablar. Don't forget that there are 4 verbs that are a little bit different than in English. Buscar. What does buscar mean? It means to search. You search by bus or by car. The other one would be escuchar, which means to listen to. Esperar, which means to hope or to wait for. And then lastly would be mirar. So these are slightly different because buscar, we say I search for. With escuchar, you say I listen to. Esperar would be to wait for, and then mirar would be to watch, to look at something, so to look at the blackboard. So how this is different in Spanish is you don't use the for, you don't use that preposition. So if you're looking for something, like let's say I'm looking for my book, I'd say busco el libro. I'm looking in the book, essentially is what you're saying. Alright, literally. Escuchar, if you're listening to music, you'd say escucho la música. Esperar, if you're waiting for something, you don't say for, you just say espero el bus. I wait the bus. And it's actually autobus. I'm going to shorten it and just say bus. I don't think you need the accent. If you're looking at, you say miro la pizarra. I'm looking at the blackboard. There's a weird verb, and that is gustar, which means well, we translate it to like, but really it means to please. So if you want to say that you like something, you conjugate this verb, but you have to ask yourself, what is it that is doing the pleasing? For example, if you like computers, the thing that's doing the pleasing would be computers. And so you conjugate this verb for computers, not for me, not for I. I'm not doing the pleasing, the computers are pleasing to me. So, yeah, forget the yo. Don't worry about that. So if you want to say something's pleasing to me, you're going to say me. If it's pleasing to you, it's going to be te. If it's pleasing to him or her, or you formal, you would use le. If it's pleasing to us, you use nos. Notice that this is different than nosotros. It's just nos. And then if it's pleasing to him or to her, or to, not him or her, I'm sorry, to they or to all of you, it would be les. So these are going to tell to whom it's pleasing. And then you conjugate this verb just as a normal AR verb for whatever's doing the pleasing. So if it's one thing that's doing the pleasing, it'd be gusta. If there's more than one thing that's doing the pleasing, it'd be gustan. So most of the time you only have two conjugations of the actual verb gustar, and gusta or gustan. And then whoever it's pleasing to, whoever likes it, you would use one of these. So if I like the computer, it'd be me gusta la computadora. If we like the computer, you'd say nos gusta la computadora. If they like the computer, it'd be les gusta la computadora, etc., etc. If there's more than one computer, then you use this because it's conjugated for more than one thing. So if I like the computers with an S, it'd be me gustan las computadoras. If you like the computers, it'd be te gustan las computadoras. So this changes for whatever's doing the pleasing, and this changes for whoever it is pleasing to. So we say, I like the computer. In Spanish, you say, the computer is pleasing to me. Take out a piece of paper. I'm going to give you some sentences, and I want you to translate these sentences and pause the video, of course, and then I will give you the answers in a few minutes, and you can fix your answers. Here are your sentences. Please translate them. Don't forget to pay attention to the subjects. Ask yourself, who is doing the action? Who or what is doing the action, and how many of them are there? What would the subject pronoun be, and therefore which ending do I need for my verb? So I dance. I would be yo. Dance would be bailar. We're going to take off the AR, and the ending for yo would be o. It's always a good idea in the margin of your test or whatever to write down the verb endings, and so you don't accidentally forget or mess it up. You can point to it and remember what your ending is going to be. He teaches. Our subject is he, therefore we're going to use the usted el ella column. The ending is going to be a, so we'll take off the AR off of the enseñar and replace that with a. So it would be L, that should be capital, enseña. They sing, we're going to take off the AR, and it's they, so it's going to be ustedes, ellos, ellas in that category. Specifically, it's ellos, so it's going to be cantan. They sing would be ellos cantan. We converse, take off the AR, we fits in the nosotros category, so that's going to be amos. We converse would be nosotros conversamos. I like burritos. This one's a little bit more tricky. Don't forget that like is not the same as in English. So like would be gustar, which means to please. What is doing the pleasing? In this case, it's burritos. And so we're going to take off the AR from gustar. We're going to conjugate it for more than one thing. Burritos would be the same thing as ellos. And so it's going to be gustan los burritos. Who is it pleasing to? It's pleasing to me. Don't forget that me would be for me, they would be for you, le would be for him, her, or you formal, nos would be for us, not the same thing as nosotros, les would be for all of them or for all of you. So I like burritos is pleasing to me. We're going to say me gustan los burritos. The burritos are pleasing to me. And they like cats. What's doing the pleasing? The cats are doing the pleasing. So we're going to conjugate gustar for cats, more than one, gustan. Los gatos. Who are they pleasing to? They're pleasing to them. So we're going to say les gustan los gatos. I mentioned this when we were talking about ser, but each of these is different. If you say bailo, that can only refer to yo, cannot refer to anything else. So you don't have to say yo. Enseña, that can refer to you formal, él, or ella. It might be important for us to keep this on here. And then, we don't have to, but it helps make things more clear. Cantan, that can refer to ustedes, ellos, or ellas. Again, it might be nice to keep it on there because it will make things more clear, but we don't necessarily have to have ellos, although again, it makes it more clear. Nosotros, there's no way that that can refer to anything except for us, and so we can cross that out. However, if you're not sure exactly who us is it me and Mrs. Fox, or is it me, Mrs. Fox, and Jacob? I don't really know. And so maybe it would be good to actually clarify and say Mrs. Fox, Mr. Fox, E. Jacob, or I guess there'd have to be an y yo in there. So y yo conversamos. At this point, turn in your practice to Moodle.